is comprehensive. None of this has been. There's so many facets, and each child is unique and different. But to just give you a sense that if the child finds hard is easy and easy is hard, right? Then it's something to kind of ponder and think about. They could be gifted. It's things like, precocious ability to think abstractly, extreme need for constant mental stimulation, that calms them down, that keeps them happy, ability to learn and process complex information very rapidly, but they could be slow processing speeds. The lack of this doesn't mean that they're not. A need to explore subjects in depth. They go really deep. They also go broad. Ask quirky, unexpected questions, not the standard safe questions we're used to, but questions that are like, where did that come from? Oh my God, that's true, that's possible. I never thought of it, which happens to me a lot. Bored with repetition, they solve problems they have never been taught. They demonstrate this power transfer kind of thing that you explain the concept, they connected it to some concept that's way beyond, and then understood this whole stuff in between, right? So they can very rapidly move through curriculum for that reason. They self-teach, like I said. They may have motor, visual, or other challenges, learning disabilities, ASD, anything. I mean, like you could have them coexist. And they can mask for them. So they may not be getting the help they need to get because they're masking. They demonstrate a lot of asynchrony. They show great interest when challenged. There's a tendency to speak fast and change topics. I am guilty of that, so sorry. But you will see that is much more extreme with those children. And they behave very differently at home, like some of the parents have talked about in this call. And I think it's very important to engage the parent, ask for the input, take that seriously. So just very quickly to go over certain traits that you could expect to see. So the fact that they can be intense. We talked a lot about intensity, but very quickly again, the driven to learn more deeply and rapidly than their age peers. Analysis is sophisticated. There's a quest for perfectionism and mastery results in intense anxiety with them. So that is debilitating. It prevents them from performing. They behave in ways or engaging. They behave in ways that others perceive as irrational and unjust. So there's meltdowns, but it's because of that extreme anxiety or because they're intensely feeling that pain of a situation that has nothing to do with them. They could be extraordinarily sensitive to sounds, smells, lights, etc. So we need to be aware of this and then, kind of take that stimuli away or reduce that stimuli in the classroom and give them those accommodations. At home and in the classroom, have a sensory area if they're sensory seeking, so a bouncy ball or like a fidget that they can take with them, something to chew. These things can help. So knowing that. So what can we do? We can provide opportunities for challenging tasks and deep analysis, both as teachers and as parents. Cultivate a culture of calm, logic, respect, and justice in the classroom. This is, I think, I don't have to tell you this as Montessorians and as democratic educationists, you're going to do this. But a lot of others need to, so it's there. Expect deep perception and empathy from the students, so treat them with that respect, knowing that. Know that they may not be able to control their reactions from oversensitivities and physical stimuli. They're not behaving badly. There's something in the environment that is causing it or something they ate. So that's something to think about. Your food determines your behavior. So what are they eating? Speak to the parents about it. Accommodate their need to move while learning. And so give them those accommodations and provide time for more open-ended, freewheeling activities. If someone's nonverbal, you may want to kind of give them options and ask them to either write, if they can write, or draw a circle or point to something so that they're able to now engage and give you their answers that they cannot give you. So it's multiple choice, right? It's not that hard for us. We break the question down, think about multiple. It's a little more work, but you can, and then you can have them choose, and then you can see where that's going, how much have they learned, where are they going from it. So there may be resistance to learning because of the limitation as opposed to because of their inability. So focus on what they're really capable of, and don't focus on the limitations. So provide them with open-ended, freewheeling activities. They love that. They love doing their own thing. Asynchrony, so they can be asynchronous. So they can be many ages at once, 8 chronologically, 15 while doing math and reading, 8 socially, 6 while writing. So they may not prefer the company of same age children. They can have another disability, so they call 2E. They may learn to do math or read early, but may develop fine motor skills late. Many have spelling challenges, handwriting challenges. This is something we constantly hear. Speech among species is a big thing, which I didn't, like I said, literature didn't tell me, but I have learned this anecdotally. So you can have these sorts of delays and challenges that improve over time. If they don't, then you have to have that checked out. Uh, but keep this in mind as well. So intellectual maturity is always greater than emotional maturity. So that's something to keep in mind when handling them. And poor handwriting due to asynchronous development. So these are just examples. So what can you do? Provide educational content to match to their intellectual age. I often start, and for many, many years now, with a quiz. So when I introduce a topic, I don't start with the topic or the basics. I give a quiz, a mixed ability quiz. So there's some very simple questions, and then it gets more challenging, and then it's like really, really tough stuff. And I want to know how much he knows. And I'm surprised very often with how much he already knows, and then we fill in the gaps. So and then or if it's very simple, we just skip to the next level. So we always start with that. Challenge by using vocabulary you'd use with an older child or an adult. They feel respected. Help support any weakness or any learning disability, but challenge the intellect. Focus on the strengths, not the limitations. I can't repeat this enough. Allow the child, and also when you're talking in front of them, to them, about them, don't talk at them, talk to them. Make it inclusive. They know they're different. We want them to feel good about their difference, not bad. Allow the child to set their own goals, drive their own learning. With my child, that's always the case. He decides what he's going to work on this week. He decides how far he's going to go with it. He often is. I have now come to a point where I have great with humility. I'm telling you, I don't understand most of what he's doing. So I have mentors who are professors who will guide us with that, but he will run with it as far as he wants to. But I have, thanks to him, learned an enormous amount about particle physics, general relativity, and a lot of math, that math less so, but the physics and the chemistry much more than I ever did knew before, or even recognizing patterns around great works of art that I didn't know and stuff like that. So I think that you learn along with the child. So independent assignments, they don't really work very well with others because they want to run a million miles unless the child is at the same intellectual capability as them, in the same place as them. It's harder. Involve the parents as resources. They start to do things more with other people as they mature, and they learn that they have to, because the collective work is very important. But give them the time for it. Always involve the parents as resources. They will have insights that are remarkable because they're closest to the child and they know their child best. Motivate and encourage. That's very important, that the self-esteem is not destroyed, that they don't fall through the cracks, because falling through the cracks can be terrible. It can result in the studies. There are studies that have been done, like I can think of one which was a 20-year longitudinal study done in Australia by a lady called Marika Gross, who basically very clearly showed radical acceleration was the path forward, that when you did not accelerate the child, the life outcomes were very bad. I mean, you could have dropouts, you could have mental health issues, you could have addiction issues, etc. So this is why it's so important to nurture these children. Okay, there's a couple more here. So there's one is that they can be bored. So very frustrated when they have to learn something they've already mastered, like some of the questions that we had discussing this. And mastery may even be at the beginning of the school year. They can look inattentive, hyperactive. They may not perform. They may shut down. So we just have to reassess, like I said, differentiate the instruction to the extent possible. Sometimes it's hard with larger classrooms. Give the most difficult first, provide alternatives, look beyond the curriculum, beyond the learning styles. Really let them tackle complex life problems. So the question I often ask is, what problem do you want to solve? And that problem has kind of remained constant for him, but for some children it varies, and you want to give them that problem to think about, maybe even a piece of it, and let them kind of use real world problems and independent research to solve for it. You can go ahead and use Coursera. You can use, I mean, there's just so much good resources out there that one can use to allow them to stretch. And then executive functioning, we've talked about this as well, but to kind of sum it up, there's this, there may be difficulty in managing frustration, social skills. It affects even speech production. They can have issues asking for help, planning, coordinating. So they may spend a lot of time doing a project, love it, and then forget to take it and to submit at the right time. They may lose sense of time to come out and finish their work or hand their work in. So there can be a lot of those sorts of challenges which make them over. And we tend to think the child is lazy. They're not obstinate. It's just they have huge anxiety, and it's just that they have executive functioning challenges, and these will catch up. But these, luckily, is a skill that can be taught. And there's a lot of very good material out there for anybody who wants help with it. So it's, I'm not going to spend a lot of time. You can read about it yourselves. Uh, and with that, we're very close to finish.